You can watch my full interview with Dr. Timothy Krebs online right now on the New Mexico in Focus Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Now, days after the state legislature passed a broad package of initiatives meant to help fight crime, the Albuquerque Police Department is announcing a change that could have an immediate effect. APD says it's extending officer shift times to 12 hours to help cover staffing shortages. Now, TJ, is this a good short-term solution? I mean, a 12-hour shift, being a cop is different than 12 hours doing a whole lot of other things. I'm curious your thoughts here.
Again, I keep passing the buck, Gene, but don't ask me, ask the cops.
True.
I mean, working a 12-hour shift, that's got to be tough. I'm wondering if they're cutting back, giving them less day to work, one less day to work, and doing 12 hours, right. 4 days.
It is a 4-day scheme.
Wow, it's terrible.
Yeah, that is part of it.
Man. But what do you do? I mean, I had Martin Chavez on the air a couple days ago, and we were talking about when he was mayor, he had an average of about 1,100 officers on the streets at one point when he was mayor. And he thinks now, based on our population, that we need between 1,300 and 1,400 officers on the street. Wow. So he thinks, 400 more would be good, 500 would be better. When I talk off and on the record with law enforcement, I do that a lot. And they've all repeatedly, over and over, they tell me, they said, look, what we're doing right now, we don't have time for neighborhood policing anymore. We're going from 911 call to 911 call. We're dealing with emergency to emergency. That's all they're doing. Right. It was a positive thing to see recently about the traffic stops. I mean, obviously that needed to be done. They pull over speeders, which is good because that's a way that they're catching a lot of wanted felons. That's the way they're apprehended. I want to revert back to one thing that Tom said earlier, and I just need to have in this. What happened on Wednesday with the street racer slamming into that school bus? I mean, why is this happening? We all see it on the streets. We see it almost every day. We see people racing. I see these muscle cars go zooming by me every day. I mean, it happens because there's been no price to pay. There's been no repercussions for street racing. And again, a lack of law enforcement. It's not their fault. We need to hire more officers.
Tom, I'm curious, any concerns about a 12-hour shift from you?
Well, disclosure, I have family who works for APD. My thoughts are my own. I think generally there needs to be a consistency in schedule. Okay. And, it is 3 12s, and then every other week it's an 8-hour day. I see. And you just can't get consistency if you're doing, 3 12s, and then because we're all about rhythm, right? As far as, we have a 5-day work week or a 4-day work week. I thought that the 4 10s was something that worked very well. But with that said, I don't know, all the different logistics, the number of real officers that are out patrolling the streets on beats. I know that we need more, and that there's an academy class of about 50 people, cadets who will soon be on the streets, which is great. But it's about increasing the community presence and connection to the community is best through consistency. And I'm not a law enforcement strategist. But I would be hard pressed to say that consistency is accomplished with 3 12-hour shifts.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Kathy, I have to go right back to this whole situation. The bottom line is we have staffing shortages. That's why this is happening. Not because it's more fun. We have shortages of police officers, but we have money in the pipeline now, a ton of money to hire officers. What have you heard or seen that makes you feel like we have more officers in process to follow the money, so to speak? Are you seeing anything that tells you, wow, these guys are on that way to that 1,300 or 1,400 number that TJ mentioned?
This has been an ongoing problem, and I think that the citizenry should understand that it's not as easy as waving a magic wand to say, oh, we're just going to hire 500 more officers. It's, not that easy. The recruiting process needs to be looked at for how we get people interested in law enforcement. And, what the officers would say is that, there's been a lot of people leaving because they feel like they aren't being supported, and it's difficult to replace them, and people are not going into law enforcement any longer because of that. So what they have tried to do, I think, is say, let's, increase the salary. And, now they're increasing salary for entry level officers and for people who've been on the force for 14 years or longer. And I think, hopefully that will have an effect. But all of it is just really surface level until we have a comprehensive solution about the problems that face us, and we start telling the truth about the fact it's going to take some years to get to that 1,300 or 1,400. We can't just say, oh, next year we're going to have 1,300 officers. That really, truly is not going to happen.
TJ, is it about money? I mean, we could hang out a salary that could beat the band now. We got so much money to pull officers in. But I hear Tom's point about and Chief Medina made this point too, about 50 cadets about to turn out of the academy here. Do we really want cadets out or new officers on the mean streets of Albuquerque without, enough other experienced people with them? Do you know what I'm saying here? It's not just a police officer; it's a kind of police officer we're talking about here as well.
Well, as to what Kathy says, this is something that's going to take a whole lot of time. I mean, and you just can't like wave a magic wand over this thing and just poof, we're going to get 300 more officers. It's not. They all have to go through. They all have to go through the process there,
right.
And not only that. I mean, everybody, we got money. We just gave our cops raises. That's great. But we are in competition with other cities across the country because every other city across the country is doing the exact same thing we're doing. So, we got the money. What can we offer these officers that will entice them to come to Albuquerque instead of going to El Paso, going to Oklahoma City, Denver, somewhere like that? What can we give them to make it more attractive?
Tom, Mayor Keller had set a goal for APD pretty loudly about this to reach 1,200 officers by 2020. That total was, I think, we're at 926, I think it is right now currently. I mean, does any of this blame fall right on the mayor's office here? I mean, I ask that knowing that he just got reelected, so the population didn't exactly blame him for crime in his response. But how much responsibility should the mayor be held to here?
Oh, gosh, Gene, you're going to paint me into a corner on this one. The mayor is addressing it the best of the way that I think he can address it at this point. He has his plan. Let's see how his plan plays out. I was encouraged when Mr. Stanley joined the police force. He's no longer part of the leadership team, which I think is not a good thing. Let's see how Chief Medina, has things with his own shop. Several years into the process. I'm going to take a pass on this one.
That works. Hey, TJ, does this move undercut any of the political momentum gained with the passage of the crime package last week?
So, you just broke up. Say that one more time.
Does this impact the gains made through the political gains made specifically from the passage of the crime package last week? These two things don't exactly go together.
I'm still dubious about the package of the crime package. I'm not very pleased with how the legislative session went with that.
Right.
I think I don't know what they did. I don't know what they were thinking. I just don't think they were listening to all of us very well with the crime package. I mean, we have I say we have a crisis going on. We have to put the fire out. We somehow got to get the fire put out. Then let's look at other things, and we got to figure out how that fire needs to be put out.
Good last word there. Sorry, my fault there. Thanks again to our line panel, as always. This week, be sure to let us know what you think about any of the topics our line covered on our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram pages.